Welcome to the Real Change Podcast, brought to you by the Boys and Girls Clubs, Big Brothers, Big Sisters of Edmonton and area, otherwise known as BGC Bigs. I'm your host, Harper. BGC Bigs is a community-supported organization committed to the healthy development of young people just like me. This is the Real Change Podcast. Real kids, real mentors, real impact, real change. Good day, listeners. Harper here. We're back with another episode of the Real Change Podcast. Today, my guest is extra special because she has been a mentor with BGC Bigs, but before that, she was a mentee. Allow me to introduce Danisha Bhaloo-Shivji. Welcome to the show, Danisha.
Thanks for having me, Harper.
You are welcome. I'm so happy to have you here today. But, okay, before we talk about your experience as a mentee and a mentor, we have to talk about how you're also a staff member at BGC Bigs. How long have you worked there, and what is your job?
So how old are you again, Harper?
I'm 11 right now.
11. I've worked there 11 years. So since you've been born.
Oh.
Yeah. And my job at the agency is I ask for money to support all the programs and all the matches for the organization.
That sounds like something my mom does. My mom does charity work as well.
Awesome.
Your job sounds really important. What's one of the things that you like the most about it?
Ooh, the people I get to meet. I think that's the best part because I get to go and talk to people about the important work that we do and the stories that I get to share from the kids. And then they come back and give us money because they just want to be part of it. So that's always really fun.
Wow. That's really cool, though. And especially that you mentioned, like, the people that you get to meet. I'm sure you get to meet a lot of people every day. Yeah. Like, it's a lot of people thinking about how big the community is.
Yeah.
And supporting so many people.
Totally.
That's a lot of people.
It is. Like, even just today, I met a builder who builds our dream home for one of our fundraisers. I met some politicians who support our agency through government just this morning before this.
Oh.
And then I met some partners that we work with. Like, today is Indigenous Peoples Day, right? So
yeah, we're doing that at school as
You're doing that at
yeah.
school. Yeah. So I got to meet a lot of partners and a lot of elders. So it's been a really fun morning so far.
That's pretty cool. You became a mentee at BGC Bigs when you were 9 years old. How long were you and your mentor matched for?
We were matched till I was 18, like till I became an adult.
Are you still in touch with your mentor today?
I am. So she lives in Saskatchewan, so we keep in touch through like social media and Facebook and things like that. But 30 years, like
that's
30
a long
years
time.
This year.
That's a long time. And are you going to stay in touch for like
absolutely
a few other years?
Oh yeah, I think forever. I went to her wedding when I was 16.
Wow.
She's been to my wedding. And then I've had 2 kids in the last 5 years. She's like given us presents for both of them. So she's still like very much part of our lives.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
You often give speeches about your experience on behalf of BGC Bigs and the United Way. I had the honor of reading one of them to prepare for this interview. In it, you talked about how something so special that happened when you were 16 years old that changed the course of your life. Would you like to tell us a little bit about that today?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So just to give you some context, when I was 9 years old and I became part of the agency, I had to move from Calgary to Edmonton because my parents separated.
It's a pretty big move.
It is a big move, especially for a 9-year-old. I'm sure you can understand, right? Like it's really, really hard. I was really shy at the time, so I didn't have many friends. I was bullied a lot as a child. So then school was hard. I wasn't doing very well in school, elementary school, junior high school. And then when I was about 12 years old, my dad unexpectedly, he passed away.
Oh.
So my mom, incredible. She raised me and my sister. Like her life still revolves around us, except now maybe more my kids than me. But when I was 16, I'll never forget that day because my caseworker, when I was a little sister, Tracy, who today she works with me, she called me and she told me she nominated me for a scholarship that was open exclusively to littles across the country. And like I said, I wasn't doing very well in school. So I didn't even think I would graduate high school. And if I did, I didn't think I'd go to university. So to get that phone call from her, and really it was, I could go to any university that I wanted, study anything that I wanted, and it would all be paid for. And not only that, I could work at any job every summer until I graduated. So I worked at Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I worked at a number of other charities. But I wouldn't have graduated from university if it wasn't for that scholarship. And one of the things that's really special for me is, I know I said I was the shy kid growing up, but my mom was not. And I remember when I called her and I told her the news of the scholarship, and all I heard was tears. Like, I still don't know what she said when I think about it.
That must have been like a pretty big moment in your life, getting a phone call and being like, you're going to this scholarship, you got this scholarship, and now you didn't even think you were going to graduate.
Totally.
And now you've graduated.
Yep.
And you now have a pretty big, important role.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'll never forget where I was when I got that phone call, like sitting on the side of the bed with my landline phone. I know we've talked about cell phones. Back in the day, there was a landline little rotary phone. And I remember getting that call and just sitting, and I was just shocked. And then I had to call my mom right away after I talked to her.
It's no wonder why BGC Bigs is such a big, special place for you.
It is.
How old were you when you became a mentor?
Oh, good question. Now that's thinking back. So I became a mentor in 2016. So I was 31 years old. And I just gave away my age on a podcast. So that's great. But yeah, I was 31.
Don't worry, I did too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Your mentor story is also really unique and a little bit sad too.
It is.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about that with us today?
For sure. Yeah, it's not easy to share, but I feel comfortable sharing it with you. When I was 31, I was working for the agency. I just started off a few years. It was a few years before that, and we got an email, all the staff, and the ask was that there was a young girl who really, really wanted to have a big sister in her life because her mom had a big sister in her life, and she really wanted, and it was on her wish list and bucket list. The problem was that she'd just been recently diagnosed with brain cancer, and she didn't have a lot of time to live. So the reason we got the email is because it takes some time, right, to get a mentor. Like, you have to go through all the checks, the interviews, all of that stuff. The process. And that takes a while because we want to make sure we do it right. But she didn't have that much time. So I wasn't dating anyone. I was able to step up at the time. I had time on I had time to give at that point. So I became her big sister. And she was 9 at the time. And they had given her a year to live, but she lived for 4 years. So she lived till she was 13 years old. And every moment I spent with her was amazing. Like, I just feel so lucky to have been her big sister.
She must have thought that was probably also a really big part of your life as well, and her life as well, because she got to spend the last of her time being with somebody she trusted and cared about. So
and she I got to spend every weekend with her. The things we used to do that we really loved to do, we go to Boston Pizza because that was our favorite restaurant, so we go there for lunch every weekend, and then we go to South Common, like that's where we had the Boston Pizza, and then we both love Chapters, so we would go there and we would like just look at stuff. There was a couple of times I took her to movies because we both liked movies, and then I took her to Galaxyland one day. Because that was like a big dream for her. And I realized that I get very nauseous on rides now. So I don't even go with my 4-year-old anymore because I just am going to throw up, like on the teacup rides. But it was so special for her.
Have you done, like, when you were a mentee, did you do similar things? Like,
I did, yeah. Actually, my big sister was very arts and crafts type person. And when I was that age, I didn't have a lot of friends, so I didn't do a lot, but I learned so many different activities through her. So we did the regular stuff like the going for lunch and movies and things like that. But I also remember her taking me to like the zoo and arts and crafts camps. And then back in the day, the agency used to have like magic shows and things like that for us, and like Toastmasters workshops. So we did a lot of those things together too.
Your mentee sounds like she was so strong and very special.
She was very special. She was. And she was so strong. I mean, she lasted 4 more years. She came to my wedding, came to my baby shower. I still keep in touch with her mom and her siblings too. So it's great. I feel like I'm part of their family.
That's special. That's something you can cherish for a while.
Yeah.
Danisha, I can't help but notice you're kind of like Taylor Swift.
Oh, really? That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
She's pretty and awesome.
Thank
and
you.
she's this and that. Yeah. Because you've had distinct eras in your life. You've had your mentee era, your mentor era, and your employee era. Mm-hmm. What Taylor Swift song would you pick to define each of your eras?
Okay, so I have 2 out of 3. So you might have to help me with the third one because I'm still in my employee era. And you're probably a much bigger Swiftie than I am. But I'd say my Mentee era. And the reason I chose this song is Shake It Off. And the reason I chose this song is because when I was working, I was doing a lot of speeches, like you said, right? And talking about my story. And one of the speeches I had to do was to high schools in the city. And they asked me to pick a song to come out to for my speech, like a music, like, you know, how you like rappers and singers go out to like a song. So they asked me to pick a song that reflected me. And my friend, who's now my husband, but we didn't know each other that well, he knew my story and he picked a song for me. And the song that he picked was Shake It Off because he had heard my story. And he thought that was really reflective of how I grew up. So that's always been top of mind. And I know that song really well. And then when I think about my mentor era, I had to really think about this. And I think there's a song that Taylor sings that's called You Need to Calm Down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the song I would pick because it reflects my little sister, right? And like everything she had to go through, it really makes you think. And it made me think a lot that I was just worrying about the small stuff. And I needed to calm down in a lot of areas of my life and just enjoy life. But I don't know if I have one for my employee area. So I might need your help with that.
Employee era.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you work at BGC Bigs currently.
Yes.
You meet a lot of new people.
Yes.
Like this morning you met a lot of new people.
Yeah.
And participate in a lot of things.
Yeah.
I'm feeling... That's a good question. I'm feeling like probably Reputation,
Okay.
like the album Reputation.
Yeah.
But specifically, I feel like you would suit. Well, there's two songs I think.
Okay.
Enchanted
Okay.
and You Need to Calm Down Again.
Again.
I don't know why.
I just need to keep calming down forever, right? Okay. That's fair. Yeah.
Because you meet a lot of new people,
Yeah.
a lot of emotions.
That's true.
So sometimes you might get like
That's true.
overexcited or you might be
Yeah.
excited to meet this person.
Absolutely.
So I feel like sometimes you may need to relax. But I don't know that personally because I met you today and you
Yeah.
met another new person. So
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
And Enchanted because it has been so many things you've been through.
Yeah.
And you've made it through it completely fine. Like you've been through a lot in your life and you're still here and you're still pushing through and you're still amazing. So
Thank you. That's so nice. And now I'm going to have to go to my car and listen to Enchanted right after this. Thank you.
can you share one of your favorite memories from each era?
Oh, boy. Okay. So I think from the Mentee one, I kind of shared the scholarship one, right? I think that's probably the one that I'll always remember. The mentor era, I shared some of the things we did. Galaxyland is probably not my favorite one because I wasn't feeling very well after that. But I would say my favorite one from my mentor era. So when I was her big sister, she was going through chemo and all of that through her cancer. And when she overcame and did all of her radiation and her chemotherapy, you get to ring a bell at the Cross Cancer Institute. And you're not allowed to invite everybody, but you're allowed to invite a few people. And she invited me to come. So I actually got to see her ring that bell for the first time. And that's one that I'll always remember, that memory.
I've actually never heard of that before.
Yeah.
So
when you go through all of your treatments when you have cancer and you go through, because it's hard, right? Like it's hard to go through all of that. There's this really cool bell at and everyone, all the staff, all the employees, everybody is there and just clapping for you and so excited for you because you went through so much. And she did that.
and you just get to ring the bell?
You get to ring the bell and everyone's just like applauding and so happy for you. And I was just so happy I was able to be there in person. And then my employee era, wow. You know what? I have to say this one is probably a big deal for me. Just getting to sit here with you and get to see you because you're the next generation and you just make me want to keep doing the work that I do.
I am the next generation.
You are.
I'm a small generation. But
And you're going to be a great leader. Like I'm just thinking as I look at you, like girl power. That's all I think about. Yeah.
girl power.
Yeah.
What about the biggest lesson you've learned from each era?
The biggest lesson. Oh, well, probably I'm thinking of the "You Need to Calm Down" song now. I think as a mentee, how much family support and having someone who cares about you is so important to like having a big sister who's just part of your life. And I try to do that for other people. So that's a big lesson. For the mentor era, just how resilient kids are. Like my little mentee, you other kids, I just like, I see how you guys just shake it off and just keep going. And then employee, that's a good one. I just love my job so much. So there's so many lessons I learn every day, but just that people want to give and they want to give back and they want to contribute and they just need a way to do it. And so you need to be, a big lesson is just helping them find their way because everyone's different.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Oh, you're going to make me cry.
No, don't cry.
Okay.
Okay. I like to end each podcast by asking my guests a version of this question.
Okay.
If you had superpowers, what do you think your superpower would be?
My superpower would be to fly, I think. And I know that's kind of like basic,
Yeah.
but I think about, I don't want to be invisible because I don't want to be invisible, but I want to be able to get to one place to another. Like I told you before, like I talk to a lot of people, I see a lot of people, my days are really busy that I spend a lot of time just in the car in traffic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it would be so much more efficient to get places and do more if I could just fly there.
I think I would choose teleportation or immortality.
Okay. Those are two very different things.
I know teleportation because there's situations in life where you kind of just want to go away, or there's like places I want to be now.
Yeah.
In the moment. And then immortality because I have had a lot of deep thoughts about if the year is 2024.
Yep.
But the Earth is 4 million years old.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we be in year 4 million? And now I'm just wanting to wait till it's year 4 million. So
interesting.
I want to see 4,273 alarm.
Nice. And when you say immortality, do you want to grow old or you want to just stay this age forever?
I want to be old enough to do anything I want.
Okay.
But young enough to look young.
I love it. That's perfect.
Danisha, thank you so much for being here today and sharing your incredible story. Your story is a shining example of just how much a kid can grow and be successful when they have caring adults in their life who believe in them, just like your mom, your mentor, and the people at BGC Bigs who've always believed in you. And to our listeners, remember, you don't have to change the future to make a positive impact. By just showing up and changing one moment in a young person's life, you can have a ripple effect on good things to come. Become a mentor today. Visit bgcbigs.ca/volunteer. And stay tuned to this channel for the next episode of the Real Change Podcast. Real kids, real mentors, real impact, real change.